Namaste, welcome, welcome. This is Quantum Akashic Soul Blissness. Very excited today to join together with a quantum renaissance woman, the beautiful Elasa Tiernan. And this has come together spontaneously without any planning or without any knowing of what is going to appear. And that's just the way we like it. So we shall get right into it. So if you're joining live now, please share this out for us so we can have fun with the algorithms, and we're going to have a fun, expansive conversation about who knows what. Okay, greetings. Hey, sister.
Hi, Martin.
Hello, hello. So beautiful.
Aloha.
So beautiful to be here with you. Thank you for inspiring this and opening this and bringing the cosmic colors. I was just saying before, um, when we connected and talked about doing this, I just saw all of this beautiful, bright, shiny, blissful colors. So amazing. So yeah, we have absolutely zero plans, zero ideas of what's coming. I can just say from my end, I was just really appreciating and being drawn to the work that you're doing and everything that you bring out. It was just really calling me, and I was just like really in awe and appreciation of you and what you're bringing. And so this is how it sort of came together. And yeah, so I would, yeah, just want to thank you for the work that you're bringing and who you are being in this world.
And the same for you, 100%, 110%. I felt you definitely several times, and I love the way that we all work together in the sense when I feel you and then randomly you send me a message, speaking light language. It's like, oh, I'm not crazy, and not that I ever think that, but ultimately it's just, we put ourselves in the cave and on the island, and even when we step back out upon the shore, upon the land, there's only, meaning when I reopen the center, there's only a handful of people who have resonant match that actually see us at sometimes. And so when we do like find ourselves on the islands and then we're reaching out, sending these messages, it's like, hallelujah.
Yes.
So
And
I'm just super grateful. And coming into, today's May 1st, I don't know a lot about Beltane and the celebrations that go on over like in Ireland and things like
mm,
that, Scotland. But I know in my heart I do. I know that I have like deep, roots in ritual. And I love again the way like the magic and the majesty that happens when we are stimulated to come together, and it's like these magical days. So I just am excited because I've just reopened up from the fairies coming to visit
mm,
the past few months, and I haven't really had a lot of fairy contact um, consistently, maybe sporadically through the years, but to have the fairies come so strongly and want to be acknowledged and literally show up in the three children's books that I just published a few weeks ago. And then that opened up to a spontaneous connection with a brother in Ireland who's like, hey, let's go ahead and go and reactivate all these stone circles and
oh,
these fairy forts near me, which are a ton and even afar. So we've had these like Dreamtime assignments for the past week and a half of the fairies consistently coming, showing exactly what needs to be done, and then him going out in his, real time next day and actually doing the things that we're seeing in the Dreamtime. And then to have the children that I work with on Tuesdays actually interface into the dream, lucid dream, that they want to be the fairies who are doing the fairy fort activities the past two Tuesdays. It just shows our multidimensionality, and it shows how every little thing that we're doing, we think like, oh, yeah, it doesn't mean that much, but it so means everything because of just the multidimensional nature, the parallel that we're all holding when we're willing to hold these giant versions of ourselves as like the bigger spirit, and then we get in these, avatars and we move around. It's, it's a ripple. It's felt everywhere.
Mm.
So that's kind of where
Beautiful.
I'm coming in at. And then to have, I just feel you also holding that role, um, in many ways.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So we didn't talk about that, of course. We didn't know. So where in Ireland is this brother?
Um, Killamock is this actual town,
Right. I'm not sure about.
and Lochgur
Okay.
is the stone circle that I originally dreamt of with him,
Wow.
and that I had a lifetime there. I saw the tomb that I was in, um, and it showed up in the lucid dream. The first lucid dream I had, it showed up like Christ's tomb where the stone got rolled back.
Mm.
And so I told him that next rising, I'm like, okay, here's my first, thing, sharing all the details. And sure enough, he literally, took videos of the tomb, and there's a big stone, that rolled back. And I saw the next night dream, literally I was, coming through the vortex where when you have a transition, or if you had a near death experience, you'll see like this cobweb, this spiral, and it like shape shifts as you're bringing all your essence through the tunnel, and you're carrying, your full essence through. And as Dan Winter would say, you're carrying your memory and literally making it to the bigger plane of existence. Well, I saw as Sean, is his name, went to go the next day to that tomb, I actually saw like all of my essence getting pulled from that tomb, and then many others. And so that led into several different additional stone circles. So it's like a big, what spirit says, it's just like another opportunity every time we do certain rituals. I have a lot of sisters and brothers, that I've met on Facebook, that we constantly are like, I don't know why I'm pulling over here, but I'm going to go ahead and, put some crystals down, and, clear this church or clear this land. But we're netting, like in the Egyptian hieroglyphs, you'll see like a net. And that's when we can net reality and reality creation. But these structures, when we actually visit them in this now time, it's like they keep saying, you guys are netting and utilizing all these existing structures to go ahead and restabilize them and re-erect them by just your ability to see the unseen, and allow for them to come back online and make best use of them on how you want them to be working, which is just them working, which then reopens the wholeness, the longitudinal ray field, and grounds heaven on earth. Just makes us feel more stable in our avatar and the Taurus, and puts back in the memory, the cellular memory, why we use these things. So, like, to share with the children yesterday, because I dreamt that they wanted to be, again, second Tuesday, wanted to be a part of the actual fairy fort revival. So the Tuesday prior, they built their little fairy fort. So when I picked them up to go to the garden area yesterday, which is a Tuesday, if you're watching on a replay, they were like, "We want to check on our fairy forts." I'm like, "I know, you're definitely checking on your fairy forts again, but this time we're building stone circles next to the fairy forts." So in the West United States, nobody, except for the Waldorf school that my daughter got to go to for 3 years, but nobody's talking about fairies. We don't have like protected land, and so of like that are fairy forts. And so when Sean is going in Ireland to these stone circles and the fairy forts are next to them and they're protected land, I'm like, what? Like, this is actually normal. So I was able to share with the children yesterday, like, hey, there's these fairy forts all throughout Ireland and Scotland and England, and they're protected land where the fairies are actually, acknowledged and respected. And they were like, oh my God, fairies are real. And they were like pointing out in the garden, like, there's a fairy fort right there, or like there's be big blossoming of flowers. I'm like, yes, there's a fairy fort right there. And then to share with them about what stone circles are, and because they had some of them had like some memories. So these are 4 to 6 year olds that I work with in that group. And, telling them what the stone circle about, like putting seeds into germinate, and that if you're not feeling well going into the stone circle, that it's got this healing energy. They were fascinated. And so then they literally took the little stones and they went out, and added stone circles next to their fairy forts that needed some revival.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Wow. And you know that like protected land in Ireland, that's not just for the woo-woo people. I mean hardened farmers, like old school farmers that don't have anything to do with spirituality, don't have any, wouldn't like talk this. They will not touch hawthorn trees. They will not, if they find like fairy rings, they find the mushroom rings and stuff, they stay away from it. They don't do it. And anyone that doesn't, I mean, it's kind of and they would say like you get cursed, but people really, when they mess with it, things do not go well in their life. So that even they're not into spirituality, they respect that.
Right.
So cool. It's so cool. Yeah.
So hawthorn trees too? Is that what you said?
A hawthorn tree is a very sacred tree, and they will never ever cut. And that's linked with the fairies, and they will never cut them down. And anyone that does won't have fun. So, yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ireland,
Oh, you are.
of
Oh,
course.
cool.
Of course. And
What part of
this
Ireland are
this
you
is
from?
I'm from the north, from Derry. But
Okay.
I wanted this is that's a perfect segue. Thank you for that, sister. I was going to ask about your name, Tiernan, because I have something to share about that, but I wanted to ask you about it first.
Yeah, so it's my father's, obviously his surname, and we don't know much. So that's why I'm excited. Like Ireland's getting stirred up. I'm going to take a group over there to do a retreat. I'm getting back in retreat mode, and we'll go to Ireland and start, resurrecting the roots. Other than the most recent dreams, like I just haven't had any like stimulation to go looking in there. But my spirit and these fairies are like, oh no, we need you to call your essence back. And I
Mhm.
know you want to say something, but I just want to say that, I got the Therify plasma med bed and here at the center, and that literally, if you don't know what it is, it puts you in the perfected field of light that's spinning at golden ratio 1.618. And as I lay on it, your Taurus it self organizes, and then when you do Akashic record work and you call upon, your essence from everywhere were traumatized around whatever detail. When you do that Akashic work of who, what, when, where, why, and you literally free up these little plasmoids in your Taurus or across the plane of existence at a tomb in Ireland, at you know Lochgur, you literally call your essence back and it comes back into the top of Taurus and it self organizes and builds back more light so that you're super concentrated. And that doesn't need the technology of a plasma med bed because we are the technology. We just have to call it and use our word. However, I laid on that 2 months ago and I said, everywhere, like I need to call my essence from everywhere across the plane, every sacred site. Like I pulled it in, and that's when all this really, kicked off. So it definitely speeds things up and takes it up, high gear. Um, so I'll
Incredible.
say that.
Incredible. So yeah,
So tell me
Tiernan.
about Tiernan.
Well, Tiernan. So the first thing for me, it's definitely it's a very Irish name. I don't know if you is your father's roots Irish. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah.
But the second thing is, and it's because of what you've just said. When I see Tiernan, any Irish people here will know. I don't know if you'll know, but Tiernanog. Have you heard of Tiernanog?
No.
Okay. Okay. So that is just something that I would like to open up for you. I'm gonna share it with you. I'd rather that you explore this, but this Tir Nanog. So this is way back, and we're talking like way back in Irish, what they call mythology, and what you and I know is like expanded aspects, advanced civilizations. And so the Tir Nanog were Og means young. I, Katrina is on here, and she might be able to translate the rest. But it's the young ones, and they were living in this paradise. They're living in this paradise, and there's lots of stories around Tiernan. But when I see your name and everything that you've just shared, I'm sharing Tiernan Oak, and I'm going to share you like this story, and it's done for a children's story. That's so beautiful. I'll share it with you after that. But yeah, you'll have a whole like stone circles and fairy rings and like everywhere you go in Ireland, you've got it everywhere. I mean, you have to you just have to choose. You have to choose what area. But yeah, Tiernan Og has just been delivered that message. But it's something we can talk about after. But yeah, Ireland. Like I was in Ireland recently. Again, I mean, I go back fairly regularly, but there's something really, really powerfully special happening there in the field of consciousness, and it's always been that land where people are so deeply spiritually connected with the land, connected with the little ones, connected with the the other dimensional. But in recent years and times and generations, that has been suppressed and put down, and that's coming back again. That's coming back again very, very strongly. And there's so many people are being called towards that sacred land and the Emerald Heart, and it's powerful. So yeah, amazing. Wow, that's exciting. So what, you're going to take a retreat from people from the States to come over? Is that the idea?
Yes, I have everyone who's here right now doing the Quantum Soul School mode. They keep everyone's bringing up Ireland, and so that's probably going to be the first one. However, I am going to the south of France
Hmm,
in this end of September to do a conference for Dan Winter. So I'll be talking there. And
amazing.
so I'm getting that plane fare today. And so I'll put a call out anyone who wants to come. There's still a few rooms left for his retreat and conference.
And is that going to be in
But
the Cathar region? Is that going to be in the Mag?
yes,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. That is, have you been there before? I mean, in this body?
No,
Oh my God.
not in
Get
the south.
prepared.
No, not there. Mm-mm. And I was 18 last time I was there. So
Wow. Different,
yeah, I'm
different time.
excited.
It's
It's going to be
very powerful.
huge.
We were there, I think, 2 years ago in the motorhome, in the RV, the recreation vehicle, and as soon as I entered that space, light language was just coming out of me spontaneously, continuously. I couldn't stop it. I mean, as I was driving, not doing some sort of ceremony, it was just coming
Right.
constantly, continuously. The same thing happened some other places along the Yeshua Mary Magdalene line, the whole like Glastonbury and other places. But there it was just non-stop. It's so powerful, so beautiful. And you're going, what time of year did you say?
That's the end of September, the 19th to the 23rd.
Oh,
Anyone who wants to come to that, super exciting. There's I mean
so
so many guest speakers. I'm going to do a quantum leap sound journey for them. We're going to do cranial sacral. There'll be all the tools there, Therify, and all his new technologies he's developed called Piezo Fire. And yeah,
Pizzo.
so it's just going to be super powerful event.
So Pizio is like, so like a quartz that gives off light. So Pizio fire. What
Yes.
is that? What's that?
So phi being phi ratio again. So it's similar to the
Phi.
Therify. The Therify is two noble gas plasma tubes that are spinning in opposite directions, phi ratio, and it's run by a Tesla coil that's got a feeding a 500,000 volts to the plasma tubes. And so when you lay in that, I can actually feel it. I think it's on right now behind me, but it gets really blissful. It builds plasma in the field, and that plasma is conscious. And so the plasma being that has birthed here, each time you turn on a Therify, it births a being, and its name's Miracle. But you can talk to that, and it's like your pet puppy. It'll come into to where it needs to go, even when it's not on. That plasma is active, just like we don't turn on and off. The soul is, but it's generating a lot of plasma here. So all these Therify centers, there's now the EE system centers that are kind of birthing plasma at a level. Um, it's all assisting in getting that unified field fully online, like with the columns of light that we activate. I know all of us are like these columns I can see that are turning everything on and kind of linking all the planes and all the heaven to earth, etc. But these actual generators, which when I was guided, I would have never thought that I would get these type of technologies. But when I was guided by consciousness pre-opening, spirit said, we need you to find everything that Nikola Tesla would have been sharing and actually start to bring that to people. And so I just finished writing the Quantum Interstellar book, which is all about the aura and how we are the med bed, we are the starship. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to teach about that. And Spirit's like, no, we still need you to get these generators because it's really going to turn the spaceship on to another level. And
Mm.
they will be used across the planet um, to like kind of just kick things off and boost everything, as well as help people realize, at a mass level, because you've got all these centers across the world.
Mm.
Um, so the piezoelectric, right? It's like, the when you push pressure against two quartz crystals, it gives off electricity. Just like when we inhale up into the third ventricle and you squeeze your breath up to the top of your head and hold it there for a minute, the rhomboid crystals inside the pineal gland are also piezoelectric, and that's why when you're squeezing up there, it gives off that electricity and you start seeing more light. And so the more you're activating those rhomboid crystals in the pineal gland, the more you have power that whatever you visualize is more quick to actualize.
Mm.
But the small device that he developed is two of them. One are like plasma balls, like when you're a kid, you might have had that ball that you could touch, and like the plasma
Yeah, yeah.
would like go to your fingers. One is a piezo or something. It's a different name than the piezo fire. But anyways, one is a small device that you could literally plug into a cell phone and like spot treat to bring the longitudinal perfected array to an area for healing. So it's like a mini Therify. And the other one is these plasma balls that you could also just like put in your room and like get the whole space filled with plasma.
Mm.
Um, yeah, they're fun.
Fun time to be alive on Earth, huh?
Yes,
And I
super fun.
totally resonate with what you share, and like that we are the technology, and we this is going to expand the technology that we are and give some like a tangible idea and feeling and seeing of what is possible within ourselves, externalized, so that we can internalize it again. Everyone already has it, everyone already is it, but a lot of times in this dimension we need something tangible, physical, to reflect back to us what is within us. And I think that's what these advanced technologies and these powerful gifts are coming. So interesting you talk about Tesla. He appeared to me here one day in this campsite. It was
Really?
very brief. I mean, it was literally seconds. And it was just like, it was like, there wasn't like a message. It was just like, okay, I'm here. Okay, bye bye again. It was like very interesting. I was going filling water. I think I was filling water. And he just appeared in front of me. And I was like, okay, what's happening? And then it was gone. And it was like, it was all received. Everything was received. It wasn't filtered through any mental capacity at all. It was everything, whatever was received silently and without any knowing on my part. This is what happens a lot of times to me. Is like
Right.
we had some sort of interface, totally silent, but it was very clear who it was, and then that will become relevant, or it'll, I don't know. Again, I have no idea. I love speaking with people like you that can put words to what I have zero words for, because I don't know what I know. I don't know anything. It just ears in the moment without any idea of this one.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's that resonant match of, there's no time. So it opens up that pocket of time as well. Like it felt very ancient of you two kind of coming back together when you just said that you opened up that ripple in time to actually see each other.
Yeah.
Um, and it's beyond that as well. But that's kind of the feeling that came over me when you were describing that.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool. These are essentially time machines. And so when you open up the longitudinal array, which is the unified field, so these are all the same thing. When you open up, when all of the nodal points, where all the magnetic lines, they cross those nodal points, when they are fully open, which they are, so this is also like belief, like releasing. When we acknowledge and we can feel, because we're barefoot, because we're breathing, we're in the sun, we're in nature, and we feel it. I know you and I can feel it. We are it, like we're tapped in. But when more people are tapped in, the better, which is again, so these extra technologies, when they're on, it's just boosting everything. Just like the way all the churches, all those churches were actually generators, they were technologies.
Yeah.
And so when we even see them as technologies and that they're on right now, then we transcend all that, we transfigure it, and we're like, oh yeah, they still work, and and then everything turns back on, just like, so when, like, this box that I'm in, this house, spirit's like, see all the boxes as, perfected technologies. See a dodecahedron, then an icosahedron, and the dodecahedron on top of them is called a star mother, the expansion beyond the cube. And then everything, so it's like our willingness to be the vision that sees it all turned on. When those things turn on, that turns on the memory of the ancestors. So the memory of the ancestors is literally all of is held in the unified field, held in the plane of existence when all those nodal points are lit and the plasma is flowing through the magnetic lines. And again, there's like a middle plane of belief system that says that metal buildings are blocking and cutting that off, or like putting different structures with, like, power electrical companies and, these big transformers and things like that, that it disturbs that perfected flow of the ley lines, and that's keeping this natural technology, keeping the unified field being accessed and occupied, or felt through all of our Taurus and through our avatar bodies. But again, that's like a middle plane of belief. As soon as we transcend that, then it's like, okay, we're back on, none of that matters. It's all just light particles stacked up on each other without a definition. Thank you for all your definitions, but we're letting all that go. um, so we're putting ourselves back in the environment to remind us what it feels like, how we're when everything's turned on, and all that memory opens up. So then we transcend time. So these are also, like I was saying, time machines. When you're like sitting in a field of plasma, like all of a sudden Nikola Tesla goes, and you're like, oh hey, and there he is, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey,
Incredible.
but yeah.
So beautiful. Wow. Wow. I know why we were brought together. It's so cool. This is so beautiful. I mean, just quantum blissness. That's all it is. So I'd love to, for those who don't know, there's a few people joining. We should be, by the magic of technology, streaming both on your platform and my platform. That's the idea here, and we trust that it is. But for those who don't know you and don't know your story, I'd love to hear your a little bit about your journey of remembering.
Yeah. um
This is for me as
I
well, by the way. I have no idea either. So,
Yeah, I'd love to hear yours as well. So, I, in this incarnation, was born when I was young, I was crying to Jesus. I was like, what am I doing here? I was very dissatisfied. I would get ecstatic crying in my room to Christ. And I didn't, we weren't really religious, but I was just very enamored with Jesus, and like bringing myself to some sort of peace by crying, and I would turn into bliss. It would get ecstatic, and my
mm.
mom would be like trying to like calm me down, like, no, I needed to cry, like I knew it was gonna like get me to this place. Well, anyways, I was a a guide to my family, to loved ones. I, at 5 years old, can remember giving like long advice to people, adults. Um, and then, but I was also just very dissatisfied being here. So I had my a first near death experience at 9, and a bike accident, and that led me to coming out of all of that experience, to going, I know why I'm here. I need to be like doing like healing arts. I got a book by Louise Hay, and it was like, that was, for a 9-year-old, kind of not a normal thing that someone wanted to read. But I was like, oh my God, I need to be able to help people in this way. And then that led to, a life of or my teenage years and 20s and into college, looking at health professions, but just really dissatisfied in my master's program, studying occupational therapy. I was just like, well, let me study yoga alongside this and study Reiki. And that was like, okay, I can keep going through this process. And when I got out of college, I immediately, at the night before I was going into I went into meditation, and I heard, just open up a healing center. tell your parents tomorrow you're going to open up a healing center when they get for the graduation. And I told them, and they were like, yay, you figured it out. Like, here, we're going to give you a house and you can just run a, non-for-profit out of there. And so I started working with and doing cranial sacral. I started working with children who would have been classified as, you know, a spectrum of sorts. And I called them the bright light children. And I would just, help the families drop into their brilliance and do cranial sacral and do Reiki, and really teach the family how to like just wake up to what's really going on here. And that whole journey, many tough cases would be sent to me, and immediately just one session, these children are back at it and fully grounded and accepted, and teaching the family about telepathy and like, just talk to them like they're talking to you. And so that led to healing center after healing center after healing center, until till today. And so I had a daughter, and she's 13 now, and I had a bleed out, and I had my second near death experience, and again saw Christ, and was like, he's like, no, you're not done. You need to go back and continue working with ascension, and people are still needing you to go ahead and help them with understanding how to illuminate. And so that's what I've been doing.
And so the center now is in, for anyone watching, this is in Florida, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Palm Harbor, just next to Crystal Beach, and it's we had this center pre-COVID for 7 years, and then we reopened the same building, and it's now called R3 Miracles. And so we're doing retreats again. We just having our first retreat this weekend, an Inventors Retreat. So
Mm.
people are coming to stay for 3 nights or 3 days, and they're working on their inventions. So we should see some pretty cool things come through, especially with like the spirit of Nikola Tesla in the
Yeah.
building and things
He
like
was
that.
just there. He's just here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Like Trismegistus is like full on, like everything. Hermes Trismegistus gives me full on instruction here. So he'll pop in and out of different kind of, wants to be called different names at different times.
Beautiful. Very, very present with this one as well. A lot,
Yeah.
especially in the
So,
last 4 years.
right. Tell me
Yes.
about where you're at and and your journey and
Ah,
here.
wow. I have no idea even where to begin. All I know is I know nothing, and I appear, and things like amazing things like this happen without any planning, without any, it's just like amazing things happen. So the very short version, let's see. So I had born in Ireland, born in Northern Ireland into like war, separation. So I had a lot of like trauma in that time. Um, had my complete rebellion around 13, and then went 20 years into the dark. 20 years of
Mm.
addictions, 20 years of just all of that. So through 20 years of that, and completely unaware of any of this stuff. So when you talk about that stuff at 9 years old, it's always amazing to me. Like absolutely, completely unaware of any of this whatsoever, other than rebelling against religion, which I was born into. Um, just the word God, anything, nothing. And so somewhere after that 20 years, I got sober 10 years ago this year, actually, in March this year, I got sober. And then that changed everything. I mean, a little bit before that, things had started to happen. But then things started happening, like you talked about these med beds and plasma. Things started literally happening overnight, where I would wake up one day and them about breath work, about essential oils, and I wake up the next day and this is what I've been doing my whole life, basically. And then that continued to happen. So that just continued to happen for the last whatever many years, 10 years. Um, a really big turning point. Well, so I started giving breath work. I was traveling around. Breath work was really powerful part, and still is very powerful part of um, what this one brings. But I suppose 2019 was a huge, huge shift where I was planning to do something around kind of. It's funny you mentioned Louise Hay. It was this program. It was kind of like her. I think hers is called "You Can Heal Your Life," and this was all about the
Yeah.
the self-help detox. This is about you don't need to heal anything. You don't need, it's like going above that middle level belief type thing is like you're already healed, you're already whole. So this, yeah, it was New Year's Eve of 2018. I had this whole thing, this is what I'm going to do. And on the 1st of January 2019, Yeshua and Mary Magdalene came to me in the morning and said, you are going to start the New Earth Mystery School. You're going to start it in 10 days, and that's it. And so within 10 days, that happened. Like, I mean, if I was trying to do it, it would be impossible. So that led to the mystery school that whole year. It was incredible. That whole year was 144 people taken through mystery school, and then after that, it just continued. My main guides, AnandA, are continuously with me and open these fields, non-physical collective. And I have lots of very connected with the Ascended Masters. And again, that's kind of just the story, but just things just appear. And this body sometimes goes along with it and sometimes doesn't. But to take it right up to now, because you've talked about this advanced technology, I'm going to share something that I haven't shared yet that has happened to this one. And that happened 3 weeks ago on Saturday. So I went to a breatharian in Ireland. I went to a breatharian conference. A friend of ours was putting it on, and with Jas Maheen, who's like one of the pioneers of that kind of movement. And so on the second day, there was a meditation. I went with no intention. Again, I was just there to be in the field of these highly evolved, expanded beings. In the meditation, it was beautiful. After it, the team came in, complete reset, complete activation. And since then, I've been completely free from physical hunger. So I have had no need for food for whatever many days that is. And I've left it for a while because I didn't want to talk about it just in case it was some sort of placebo or whatever. But no, it's gone. It's gone.
Wow.
No, that's one thing. This is not like full on like living source fed is what she talks about. Physical hunger is gone. My body is 99% living source fed, but my emotional body and my mental body, that's where a lot of work still, so I'm not completely there, and I don't know if I'll ever be, but at this point it's mental and emotional hungers, let's say. So Jasmine, that's her idea. Her idea is, she's here is to end all human hungers. So not just physical hunger, it's mental hunger, emotional hunger. And so yeah, for me, mental hunger is the one that's got the most work, and emotional is just second behind that. But so I'm just sharing that now because I've not been sharing it. But here it is now, because it again, it's just something that happened. So
wow.
yeah, that's us up to today.
And was that an intention? And because since she deals with that was an intention?
About before my son was born, it would have been about 6 years ago, I'd say. I was really interested. Myself and my wife, we were both like, wow. We kept meeting these people that they call it breatharian, but I love
Breatharian, yeah.
Yeah, but Jasmine, I love the way she doesn't, she is kind of seen as the definitely in the Western world the pioneer of this, but she uses the term source fed. She said, I don't not eat, I eat all of the time, but she's feeding directly from source. There's no in between. And so, but we kept meeting these people and they're saying, this happened to me and I don't eat anymore. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I was so interested in it. And I'd read so many of her books, did like lots of things, did some of our own practices. And then our son, and we did a retreat with a friend of ours who's been living that way for many years. She doesn't eat, she doesn't drink. Brought her to Portugal and it was incredible. She stayed with us. And so I got direct experience of it. And then my son was born and then I just completely forgot about it and just like was full into that and like eating and just went out. It went away. And then this year it just started appearing again. And then the Jasmine's book, and then her new book, and then our friend created this breatharian conference, and I was like, I wasn't going there for that to happen. I was going there to be in the field with people who are expressing expanded expressions of what it is to be human. So I wasn't going with the intention for that to happen, but it happened. So maybe on some level, of course, on some level I was, but not knowingly.
Yeah. Have you eaten?
No.
Wow, because you looked thinner when I
Of
saw your photo.
I've lo-
And I was like, you're thinner.
one of my so I do a lot of deals. I don't just say yes to any of these things, but I'm like a hard negotiator. So one of the things, I mean, to bring the book through that I've only brought through, it took like 6 years of negotiation for me to actually say yes on my terms. Just go back to that. So I was in 2017. I was supposed to deliver this book. It was going to be written, and I didn't want to write it. And then so it took until I think whatever it was, 2021, I channeled the book vocally live. So eventually I was like, I'm not writing it, put it through me vocally, and then we do it that way. So that's what happened. But the oh, I got off track there. What were we saying? I got
Just that
lost.
you lost weight. I could tell you had lost weight, and I
Yes,
was wondering. I didn't know.
I
Yeah.
have. I have. So one of the prerequisites that I said is like that, because what happens is within the cellular structure and within the physical structure, there's certain, there's still trauma, there's still energies that need to be released, and fat cells have to, that's where it's stored, in fat cells. So there is a certain amount that's going to drop off. And but as again, this was my I said, if I'm going to be someone who displays this, I I need it to be at the absolute minimum of, like, it's with ease and grace and the absolute minimum of physical discomfort, or and also like just the body. I don't want, well, I want to stay vital and strong.
Yeah.
Some weight will leave the body, but it will come back. So at the moment,
Yes.
yes, there has. I haven't tested exactly what it is, but yeah, it has been. Yeah, that's why. I didn't have a lot to
Yeah.
lose before, but yeah, it's happened. So yeah,
Well,
that's
and
what's happening.
that's awesome to hear about. And because naturally, it just makes me think about like being here at the center. I love getting in these modes of like where we're constantly here on retreat or doing soul school, things like that, because we don't eat. We're so blissed out. We're fed by spirit. We're fed by the field. And I
Yeah.
love how that she put that she's constantly being fed by source, which we are. And so
Yes.
it's getting the middle out of the way. And
Exactly.
when we're clearing, when we're tapped back in and then we're willing to clear those mental and emotional hungers,
Yeah.
then we're just back to now. We're back to presence. We're back to the wholeness.
Yeah.
And we're back to being sustained and maintained and feeling vital,
Yeah.
because you're you're in the unified field. You're fully whole. And so it's also what I'm thinking about. I don't know why I'm thinking about it, but I'll just go with it, is that what you're allowing yourself to perceive that the body will maintain at. So, what you want yourself to look like is how you'll look.
Yeah.
And that also then carries over into the other world of like heaven, or transitioning out of, the avatar, or taking the avatar with you as full
Yeah.
light,
Yeah.
that you will look how you want to look. So if you pass at 87 and you loved how you looked at 18, then you look like you're 18.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then they're also tying in the reverse aging is what happens. Like all these technologies that I have here are reverse aging technologies. And so they're time machines.
Mm.
And because you're getting back your essence. And when you're getting back your essence and you're running that through this now moment, then again, it's the same thing. You're going to look how you want to look. The only question I lead to consciousness that I want to tap into, well, then why would, a wee one, like a baby, grow to different sizes? Is it just because that's a belief? Is that the programming within the avatar?
Mm. So you mean
Is
what?
that the
Why does a baby not just stay like a baby? You mean?
Well, if we're seeing reverse aging, like I'm watching people around here with like we have these life wave patches, like this technology on a little sticker
Yeah.
that's the same thing as the med bed. Like we're literally seeing by people, activating their aura as the light the med bed, wearing these technologies, etc. Where I'm seeing people reverse age. I'm
Yeah.
seeing like a 78-year-old look like he's like 40, and just he's on the trail, like, oh my God, I'm like, got so much energy. Um, so there's that. Like, if there is reverse aging and us really allowing ourselves to come back into this new view of the avatar, then why is there these ages where the bones grow and the child gets bigger to a teenager?
Mm.
Is that, and then I think about the golden mean, the field, how it's literally integers of golden mean ratio. So when you see like a plant go from a seed to it sprouts and you start seeing it unfurl
Yeah.
that spiral, and it's like, and then it literally spirals open, the Fibonacci series, which is essentially a golden mean ratio integers expanding upon itself.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for our body. You know, we're all this, it's rotating out into this bigger version, and then it collapses or it kind of gets recycled, but the spirit doesn't.
Yes.
And it's these bindings into the belief in death and the belief in the way we've been dealing with death and growth of the body
Of
and
course.
eating,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that when we're releasing all these and we're awakening our eternal soul consciousness, um, then we essentially would also be releasing all those hungers that you're talking about mentally and emotionally. And we're going to just see, that's where the true light body gets activated. That's where the Ba from the Ka, you know, the true rainbow light body turns on. It's already been on, but you link back up into that and you release all these things that were binding you into time and into four corner agreements like birth certificates and social security cards and things like that.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, so it's like the way she shares about it, and I love it, is this like we're being continuously fed by source, and it's like this theme where we've been talking about this middle. So we've believed to grow, to be healthy, to be nourished, we put this belief of food, or food is just one of them, or mental nourishment, emotional nourishment, any sort of nourishment. So there are many in this kind of breatharian field where they talk about, they do sun gazing, but so that's one thing. And others, they talk about being in, like the yogis in the Himalayas, they don't need to eat, they're just with their field. But why I'm so resonant with her is, she said that's fine for the yogi in the Himalayas, but what about the guy living in Northern Ireland or somewhere where the sun doesn't come out and you can't, it's still an external. It's beautiful and it works and it's something that you can use, but it's still an external to you. So what she's talking, it's like, it's no, I am source fed. I am eating all of the time. I am nourished on every level of my being continuously by source. So all of the middle stuff is out of the way, but then you can completely enjoy all of the middle stuff. You can play, you're not dependent. You're a radiating center of energy rather than, because when we have hungers of all times, we're drawing from the field. Whereas in this state, we're expanding. I'm not saying that I'm there. I'm saying what has been expressed.
You
Yeah.
are.
An aspect of all of us is all the time. This one right now, but is like we're a generating force. We're an expanding field rather than we're going into, oh, that little bit of emotional well-being. Okay, now I'm good. Oh, that thought stimulation. Oh, now I'm full. I'm a little bit lacking. So let's get it from that relationship. Let's get it from that feeling, that substance, that idea, that word, that, or food. And so, yeah, the thing about the growth, I'm not sure. I feel like that's, probably from this model, that is just going to happen naturally as an evolution, but it's not happening because of something that we're doing, or, this, just the evolution of a body or the evolution of a plant is just its natural unfolding. But we have the belief system, or, they are crumbling, that it needs certain things like the sunlight, like air, like the water. And there are people, it's quite a few, it's very few, but there are people that are without food and water. That's a niche of a niche of a niche, but it's like, no, we don't even need water. And I mean, it can be quite controversial and jarring to the human consciousness. And again, I'm just exploring this, because it's just something that's happened. I'm not putting any label on it. I'm not trying to make anything happen. It's effortless. I mean, I've done fasting before, juicing, and whenever I was doing it, it was always an effort, was something that I
Right.
had to do. And it wasn't, I felt good, but it was also like it was an effort. This, there's no effort of what's appearing now. So yeah, it's being that radiating, generating influence in the field rather than being 95% and then I'm just going to take my 5% from this or whatever it happens to be. And again, that's going to fluctuate in this dimension, but it's, yeah, it's very exciting and it's very expansive. And again, it's just it's a exploration at the moment for me and very new, but it's like, that's
How
what
long was the retreat?
it was. Just a 2 day conference. And so the first day was all the um, breatharian people. The again, she doesn't use the term breatharian. She was the whole of the second day. She's soul
Mm.
reading, and so the first day was, it was nice, it was amazing, and hearing people that are already living this way. But really, she was the one that I went to see. So just a little segue. Thank you, Katrina. I knew she would be able to do it. So Tiernan Og means the land of youth. So Tiernan Og, and Og is in Gaelic means young one, and so just totally aligned with everything that you're sharing, Tiernan and Tiernan Og. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to share this video after with the story of Tiernan Og. Is beautiful, beautiful story for children and
Oh, good.
for big children and little children. So yeah, wow. So that's, yeah, that's what's appearing. That's what's happening.
I love it. And so many, myself included, were doing fast the past few days,
Ah,
and so it's just, it's the time of this topic.
mm,
And it's definitely reopening a packet of consciousness, as as everything does, because here we are.
yeah.
uh, yeah, so I'm really honored that this is opening, this seed is opening in this way,
Mm.
and especially that the seed is opening as we're building labyrinths. um
I
and
love.
so I
That's what I wanted to
yes,
talk about. That's what I wanted to talk about. Oh, that's so cool. I should have got that video. I wonder, can I sneak it on here now?
yeah,
I don't know. I could. I
the
think.
lab the labyrinth is so easy for us to create. And the fact that Spirit wanted the seven circuit labyrinth is really phenomenal. And I want to just share a little bit more about that. Like,
Please.
why? Because the seven circuits are, working with the seven energy center, working with the seven planes of existence that come out of whatever energy center you have mastered and stabilized as a star point again. And so if you've mastered, your air element, your heart, you really can airbend pretty easily. And you do walk upon a plane where there's not as many beings at the first plane. The first plane has most people because they're still dealing with reincarnation and topics like that. Anyways, so that you got the seven planes, the seven energy centers, but you've also got, the seven circuits in the brain. And when you're walking the labyrinth, if you've walked a seven circuit, it's a little bit like confusing. It's not just like a normal spiral that you're going in and out. It's got twists and turns. And so when you're walking it, also looks like a rainbow. So you can essentially go, oh, well, that's like the, seventh chakra, sixth, fifth, fourth, whatever, when you look at a rainbow. But it's got these twists and turns, and it's working the brain, the left and the right brain, so that you can come to whole brain again and deal with those emotional and mental hungers. So if there is a seventh circuit around you, cool. But my invitation to this now moment is so strong that everyone go build a seven circuit labyrinth outside right now. It's so easy. And so, like, look it up, look at the video I created the other day. Like, it takes just 2 minutes to draw it out on a piece of paper. And as soon as you draw it out, like, you'll realize, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Then just go take some flour, that you've got in your cupboard that you're not using, and like, just make like a Buddhist one where it's going to blow away in the wind tomorrow. Or make it with flower petals, whatever. But make it, and make it with your children. And when you walk it, realize you literally are combing through left to right brain everything. If, let's say, you're walking and it looks like it's the fourth part of the rainbow, like a rainbow arc. When you're walking it and you're walking on the left side, realize you're combing through all your emotional things that you still haven't dealt with, mental things you haven't dealt with around, masculine love or boundaries or not being able to trust. And then you go over to the right side of the brain as you go across the arc. You're literally clearing your central nerve, your hard wiring in the brain. And it's when you do a 180 turn to go up the next arc, there's something psychological that happens. So it's just a great like grounding exercise for people to do and use that walking meditation for this seed that we're dealing with, which is like what's possible when we realize that we are the source, we are source, and we are continually fed in all ways because we are it. How can we not be fed
Yes,
if we're
this is
like it?
it. Yes, yes.
So it transcends like all of the like, long path, although it can take a long time and it's a fun journey being here and going through all your processes, but it brings it down back to this small finite point
Mm.
of we are source and we have all the tools and we can transfigure everything necessary with these simple practices.
So beautiful. So that video popped up. We'd already agreed we were going to do this, and that video popped up for me with the spirit algorithm, and I put it on. I'm watching it, and as I'm watching it, I wish I had got it. I should have put it on so we could show it here as you're demonstrating the how to design. We'll put the link for this video for those on my
Mm-hmm.
channel. We'll put the link. It's amazing. But as you were doing it, I took a videoed on my phone. Literally, this rainbow color just appears, and it's if anyone watching the video will do that. It wasn't just on my side yet. If they go to your
Yeah.
so
Well,
on your go
yeah.
ahead.
Well, it happened because of my phone. It added that in there. So,
Really?
yeah, so my what's it called? The thing I film on or that I
Yeah.
create my videos, something like turn that on and I don't even know how to do it. But
But
I
it was
also find
totally
I
rainbow
also
body. It was rainbow
I
body.
also right, and I also find it was interesting. I think it was that 222, which like all day yesterday like everything was 222.
Oh
So,
my!
and that's it for me. Like 222 is like we're almost there. The angels are saying you're just so close to
This
being there.
is so crazy.
And then like I want to so I just pulled a chart for us about the show on the Akashic Soul Pro app that we created here, and it's all about the heart and the horizontal channel, which is the longitudinal array of all of our technologies, our body, soul, our heart energy centers turning on. And when they all turn on, which we're all at that level of like showing up as the heart we are, like it literally we become the living technology that gets everybody to be able to have, you know all their abilities back online,
Mm.
knowing that they're source, not having these hungers. And then it says the energy body that or energy practice that's needed is grounding, like which is what we just talked about.
Yes.
The event is ascension, the superpower is being self-realized. The vehicle that's turning back on is the light body. I mean, come on.
Wow.
So we're on.
I have to tell you, this is amazing. So I'm doing one quote from the book every day for a year.
Yeah, I
Guess
love
what?
that.
Guess what day it is today?
222.
I swear to
Oh my god.
it's day 222. I
Oh
can't.
my god.
When she was talking about 222, it was 2 minutes 22 on the video that I saw of hers, and then the rainbow body just appeared from it. Not that this was
Right.
so we are. I just before this video did day 222 of 365 days. Wow.
So here we go.
Oh, oh
We're
my God.
on.
Well, here, there's Katrina. The synchronicity here is off the charts. And that was before we talked about 222. So,
Oh, cool.
how is your time? We're right on an hour. How is your time?
I have to get going and it's 12:12, which is actually perfect because that means it's now. Like
Come on.
we have the full activation is happening right here right
11,
now.
11 to 12, 12. Absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So just before you go, please so you've got the apps, you've got the book, you've got the center. Please tell everyone on this side about where they can go to find out more. And
Yes, you can if you're coming to R3 Miracles, it's called r3miracles.com, like R the letter R, 3 miracles. And then the app is Akashic Soul Pro app.com and you can find a lot of all the things that I'm offering. But I really invite people to download the app. If you have an Android phone, it's free. If it's iPhone, there's a little fee attached to that. Um, it's super powerful. People have major miracles happen. You can just push the automatic button as much as you want, and it literally generates currency at a level of you recognizing that you are the currency and the soul essence is magnetized back to you. It's got so many superpowers to it that I still haven't had enough time to like share with everybody what's actually going on there, because
Well,
I could keep getting another project. But
let's do it
yeah,
again. Let's do this again sometime. I would love to.
yes,
Yeah, it'd be
I would
amazing.
love that.
And so we'll put the website, the app, and you've got children's books. You've got another that audio book as well. I've been told this
Yeah.
week because of my mental and emotional hungers, I am on a information fast, or I would have already read or listened to your Audible. As soon as I saw it, I was there, and okay, but I will. I will soon. Thank you so much, sister. Wow, this has been incredible. So
Thank you.
so beautiful. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you,
Thank
everything.
you.
And yeah, we'll continue in this journey
Until
together. Blessings to you.
until next time.
Yes.
Blessings.
Ciao, ciao. Bye,
Ciao.
everyone.